All right, moving right along. Joining me now, former National Security Advisor, my dear friend Robert O'Brien. Robert O'Brien, the Saudis are in town, and really it looks like the relationship, which was so bad during the Biden years, is improved swimmingly between Mr. Trump and MBS. What do you make of it?
100%, Larry. It's back. MBS has something we want. We want investment from Saudi. We want energy dominance. We want the Saudis to produce a lot of oil at a low price to drive down the price on Putin and to supply our European and Asian allies. And they've got something we've got. They want our security guarantee. They remember when Iraq invaded Kuwait. It was the United States that went in and kicked Iraq out of Kuwait and saved them. They remember when ISIS took over parts of Iraq and Syria. It was the U.S. and President Trump that went and ejected ISIS. So they want our security guarantees. We want their economic might. And you know, it's very interesting, Larry. MBS is not interested in being the leader of the third world anymore. He wants to be part of the first world. He wants to be part of the rich club. And he doesn't want to be hanging around with a bunch of terrorists and third world leaders. He wants to be in the cool kids table at the lunch, in the high school cafeteria lunch table.
And he wants to be in banking circles, in the economic circles, trying to reform his country, and he's got money for us. We have some sound from Mr. Trump on Saudi investment possibilities. Take a listen, please.
You know, when you invest $1 trillion, that's national security for us, too, because it creates jobs, it creates a lot of things. And I would say, Scott, right, when you hear one country is putting $1 trillion into the United States, that creates national security. And you know, I think that they don't have to say that, but I think a big part of that is also the fact that tariffs are in play.
Tariffs are in play. They're willing to make these large investments in the U.S., make us stronger at home. That makes us stronger abroad. And the other thing, Robert, that I wanted to ask you was the Abraham Accords and Israel. Now, the Saudis have been on the right side of this. And are they going to stay on? They're on the right side of Iran, namely our side. And it seems like, therefore, they're on the right side of Israel and maybe the Abraham Accords. You have thoughts on that?
I do, Larry, and you make a very good point. We wouldn't have had the Abraham Accords if Saudi hadn't been supportive of it. Bahrain is dependent on Saudi. Bahrain was one of the initial signatories to the Abraham Accords. The Saudis let them do it. The Saudis want to join the Abraham Accords. President Trump wants them to join the Abraham Accords. Because what we'll have if we have an economic normalization and a diplomatic normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia, we'll have these two great powers in the Middle East together against Iran, against the jihadists, and that will allow us to pull our troops out and put them in the Indo-Pacific, where we've got a big challenge against China. So for many reasons, the Abraham Accords make sense for Saudi, they make sense for Israel, they make sense for America. Great triumph of President Trump's.
But yes, I mean, he's just changed the entire dynamic in the Middle East. It happened several months ago. People have almost forgotten about it. They can't forget about it. Now, one other thing, the UN resolution in the Security Council for this Department of Peace or Board of Peace in the Middle East, of which Mr. Trump would be the chairman. Can you briefly explain the importance of that?
Yes, Larry. So what we want, we need to get the Israeli troops back to Israel. We need to let the Palestinians try and rebuild Gaza, but they can't rebuild like they did last time, where they built tunnels. They had more tunnels than we have subway tracks in New York to attack Israel. It's crazy. So we need a real governance system in Gaza. We need someone like President Trump. Tony Blair is part of it, Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff, maybe some other foreign leaders like Scott Morrison, from the former Prime Minister of Australia. They'll run the thing, and then we need a robust peacekeeping force. We need not just blue helmets with BB guns. I mean, we need a real security force. When the terrorists pop their head up, the stabilization force can whack them and back down and take them out of their tunnels and keep the place safe, because Israel can't have another October 7th. That was so traumatic for Israel. That genocide of the Israeli people, the killing of all the young people at the music festival. We can never have that happen again. And so robust peacekeeping force, a board of peace led by President Trump, that'll give the Palestinians a chance, and it'll give security for Israel.
All right. Well, sounds very optimistic. I appreciate that. We'll hear more on NBS tomorrow. I guess he's meeting with lots and lots of business people. Anyway, former National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, thank you. We appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you, Larry.